Welcome, Colin Thomas, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
Michael, it is great to be here. I'm looking forward to really helping your audience to work through a question. The question is your mind your best friend or is your mind your worst enemy?
Yeah, it's a good question to ask because we do have to ask those deep questions in order for us to really dive deep into mindset. And today I have you on as a positive intelligence coach, and we're going to be learning about the work that you do. So in your own words, can you tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help them?
I would say in my own words, one of the things that I strive to do is help people to improve their lives. As a life coach, and positive intelligence is one of the areas I specialize in. But as a life coach, it's important to be able to connect with somebody to find out what is the goal they're trying to accomplish. Because several times they're not really aware of what the true goal is. And I'll tell you more about that later. So for the past 6 years, 2015, wow, 8 years, I've been in the area of coaching. In 2018, after leaving IBM, I went full time into opening my own boutique coaching company. And for the past 5 years, I've been really trying to learn more about different coaching techniques and how to apply those to different things people are going through. Part of my mission, part of my purpose is to really help people improve their lives. And I primarily do that through coaching and motivational speaking.
I always find it interesting when you have someone who goes from corporate America to coaching, and it's because they learned something during that process. Maybe you didn't find fulfillment. Maybe you saw a lot of stress in the workplace and you say, I want to be the difference. I want to be the change. What was that change for you? Or what was that spark that made you want to leave your corporate America job and into coaching?
For me, when I first heard about coaching back in, I'm going to say 2014, 2013, I laughed. I was like, you're going to tell me how to live life? You just live life. Now, since I'm going to say in high school, I was always very active in sports. As one of the team leaders, my coach would always say, Colin, get your team ready. So I always have to get them riled up. So I loved motivating people, first my teammates, then other individuals. But what I found as I got older is that motivation is a tremendous shot in the arm. However, it doesn't last long. And Michael, I can motivate you tough on Friday. Saturday, you're ready to run through a brick wall. Sunday, by Monday, Tuesday, the motivation is gone. And I found that the same people who are motivated on one day, they'd come back next month for another shot of motivation. And I always said, wow, what can we do to have the person not need motivation? Because motivation is fleeting. 2015, I was working here in Shanghai with IBM, and they asked me to become an internal coach on top of my regular job. And that's when everything shifted. And I'll tell you why. The very first time I sat down and coached somebody after getting a few lessons, them opening up themselves, sharing what they're trying to accomplish, sharing what they're going to commit to doing, and then going out, and then 3 months later, hearing, Colin, what you told me that day changed my boom, 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 boom. And I found coaching to be very, very effective because it's not a one-time thing. You're really going to find a coach who only gives a client one session and the client succeeds. Recurring, whether it be every other week, whether it be 3 times a month, you're getting with the client enough times for you to really be able to be with them as on the journey. So once I found that I didn't have to motivate the same people, I can use coaching and help them inspire themselves. That's when everything shifted. And I say, luckily, unluckily, in 2018, here in Shanghai, my job was moving to Beijing. I've been commuting to Beijing for about a year. And my wife said, Colin, we are not moving to Beijing. So I told her, I said, well, honey, they're going to give me a package and I want to go into this coaching and at the time, motivational speaking full time. And Michael, she said, go for it because you've talked about this. And if you don't do it now, maybe perhaps you don't do it. I got her blessing. That's what shifted me. But her really saying, Colin, you can do it. If you don't do it now, you might not do it. That's what really made me safe because now I have a runway. With that package, I didn't have to worry about the lights being on next month. I could really take my time and build it up the right way. Here I am 5 years later, still struggling, but it is very inspiring knowing that I ask myself the question every day, how can I help more people? So that's one thing I love about my career and what I'm doing right now.
And it's important to make sure you have someone behind you. So your wife just is there supporting you. And through that journey together, through thick and thin, through the good times and the bad times, it's important to have that because when you're going on that journey for something new in your life, we don't necessarily know the end goal. We don't know if we're going to make it. I mean, if we look at the statistics for businesses and them being successful or them lasting past 5 years, I mean, it's like what, 1 in 5 businesses are going to make it or something like that in 5 years. So it's like you already overcame the odds. So now you're just over that hump. And now the only thing you have to do is just tell the world who you are and show the world what you can do. And you're right, motivation is temporary. I actually have a video series on YouTube. It's called Motivation in Motion, and it's called Motivation in Motion for a reason. Motivation is not something that's stagnant. It's not going to just stay there with you. So you have to understand that like motivation, as you said, is always fleeting. But we can replace that motivation that might give us that jolt in the beginning with something good, and that's going to be discipline. And I wanted to get your routine for discipline and how you help people become more disciplined.
My routine for discipline is very different from how I try to coach people to live up to the commitments, because there's a lot of different techniques on how you can, what you can do to make sure you're reaching your goal. For me, it's all about the end game. And I have 3 different areas: physical health, mental health, and my purpose. Physical health, this year I turned 50 years old in a few months. And my youngest daughter is about a year and a half. I only have one daughter, youngest daughter. And my son is almost 4 years old. And I told my wife, I want to be here at 80. I want to meet my grandkids. I want to see them get married. I want to be part of their older life. So I know I have a long time to go, hopefully a long time to go. So part of that is making sure physically I'm in good shape, because I want to grow old with control over my body. So making sure I'm doing everything now to make sure I'm here. The other side is the mental side. I want to make sure that I'm living a lifestyle that mentally, emotionally is maintainable. And I'll tell you one thing that, you're a coach as well, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, so you're very familiar with having a discovery session with a client. So one of the things I did, I want to say about 2 years ago, I had a death recovery session. And what I mean by death recovery session, I said, with a client, I'm going to sit down with them for about an hour and understand a bit about their lives, what they're trying to accomplish, and what's the main thing you want to work on right now. So I said, I want to have a death recovery session with me because I have a fear of dying. I'm not going to lie to you. I have a fear of dying because to me, that's end all be all. So I want to be here longer. What fear do I have? And the fear was, well, I have a fear of not being here for my kids, but personally, I have a fear of having regrets. And my regrets are more about not trying with all my energy. Because trying and going about half-assed, that's not going to work, right? So trying with all your energy. I think about what can I do to make sure I'm doing that? And part of my reason I got into positive intelligence was because it helps me to really be able to stay calm and keep a level head. Because as you know, a lot of times we make poor decisions, we lose confidence when we don't have what I call proper mental health, the physical health, the mental health, and then my purpose. And my purpose, as I told you, very simple: helping people improve their lives, whatever that may be. Going back to those areas, and because it's so important to me, that's what motivates me to make sure I'm being disciplined, making sure that I'm getting up on time, making sure that I'm doing everything I need to do. If you can see my wall right here, I have every morning I read aloud all these different things to keep myself going. And I have one here called betting on myself. Every morning I talk about that to myself. And the reason is when I decided to go into coaching full time, I burned all my boats. And sounds cool, but I woke up in a hot sweat about a year ago and said, holy bleep, 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 bleep. I don't have an out. It is too late. I'm not going back to corporate. It is really too late. So I was scared for about 2 days, I'm not gonna lie to you, because my kids are young and I got to pay for school. Then I said, wait a second, Colin, wait a second. You have no choice but to really lean into coaching. So lean into coaching. So that's when I knew that this is real and not just a sort of a side hobby. So for me, I get my discipline from the fact that I must succeed, physical health, be here for my kids, and more importantly, I want to help more people. In order to do that, I have to, as a coach, you have to drink the Kool-Aid. You can't coach somebody unless you're following some of the things y'all you're talking about as well. So it's a long answer for how I do this for myself. With my clients, I like to find out what is their golden why, because that why needs to pull them along when they're feeling down. Also, what is their support structure? I tell folks, don't go it alone. Do not go it alone. Whatever it may be, have somebody whom you can call when you need encouragement, have somebody who can call and check on you, ask you, are you doing what you're committed to do? Helping them find different ways to keep them disciplined, keep them on track. But it's really amazing once the client believes in their true goal and really starts going after it. And if we have time later, I'll tell you what I mean by their true goal.
And we look at the three areas, right? The mental health, physical health, and then the purpose. All three are essential. If we don't have one, or if we squander one, we suffer almost in all the areas. Physical health being one of them. We don't pay attention to that until something is broken, until something needs fixing, till we get a doctor's note. Mental health, same thing. We don't worry about it until we're burned out or we have a psychotic breakdown. And then we get into our purpose. And most people don't even know that. Like they don't know their passions, they don't know their gifts or their talents. They just kind of move through life being pushed rather than moving themselves into the direction that they want to be. And it's difficult for many people to find their purpose. It's difficult for people to find the time to create a good, strong mindset and a good physical body that's structured on good health and wellness, because we have been told all these bad things. We see all these bad things in the world, and we're enticed by all these wonderful treats like cakes and sweets and Doritos. I mean, all of those things are good in moderation, but we have to ask ourselves, what's the end goal? And similar to you, that vision of seeing your grandkids, I remember I was talking to my dad because my dad is just getting ready for 60. And we just had our first kid last year. And so I was telling him, I was like, if you want to see this kid graduate high school, you need to get your life back on track. And then he was like, yeah, you're right. So he started doing his push-ups again. He started doing more walking. And it's all because he gave himself a purpose. He wants to see him graduate at least high school. That right there is a great motivator for people to understand that we can give ourselves a purpose as simple as, I would like to see my future or my legacy on through my grandkids.
Absolutely.
It could be that simple. It could be starting a corporation, being a multi-million dollar or billion-dollar company. You can have that aspiration too, but how do you get there? And you said something great. Do not walk it alone. Yes, you can, but that path is going to be arduous if you're going to go by yourself, because you're going to find that you're tripping over your own feet, you're getting in your own way, and you have no guidance. So I wanted to get into the aspects of having a coach like yourself on someone's teams, the benefits that they're going to get.
First, go back and say this, that one change I've been seeing, and maybe you've seen as well, especially since I want to say maybe 2018, 2019, more people, entertainers, athletes, more people in the spotlight are talking about their mental health, the mental fitness. And once that happened, more and more people start talking about it as well. So we know that it's no longer behind the closed door anymore. More people talking about it, which is great. The challenge a lot of people have, though, is, and I don't know why, well, I kind of do know why. People still have a negative stigma when they think about therapy or counseling. They kind of don't want to say, I'm seeing a therapist, I'm seeing a counselor. Now, once people start saying that, they feel empowered by it. But a lot of people still don't want to go down that route. They're be a little embarrassed for whatever reason. And I've noticed that a lot more people are now open to coaching. Now, coaching is by no means therapy. However, people that need therapy can also benefit from a coach for certain things. If it's past trauma, things like that, no. But there are still benefits, because I've been seeing more and more people being open to hear more about what coaching is than a few years ago. So a positive thing is more and more people are starting now to say, yes, I need some help. And once you start saying, yeah, I kind of need some help, maybe coaching, down the road, then be open to therapy and counseling, the help they really, really need. And one of the benefits of coaching is really, and clients want to achieve different things, but one benefit of coaching is, you know, you have somebody there with you that's helping you find your way on your own. You know, you have somebody that's going to be very confidential and support you. And one of the most important things is establishing a no judgment zone. Imagine that. You having somebody who's trying to help you improve yourself, reach your goal. They don't judge you. They're not going to talk about you. And they're really there for you when you need them. That's how we coach. Now, I talked earlier about helping people find what their true goal is. And when I take on a client, it takes us about 3 sessions to really, really identify their goal. I'll tell you very quickly what I mean. Years ago, I had a client, and their goal was to lose 25 pounds. So when somebody tells them the goal, I say, put a comma there so that I can blank, so that I can fit my old clothes. Okay. Again, I want to lose 20 pounds so that I can fit my old clothes. I can look better to my wife. And we kept doing that and doing that and doing that. And then he said, so that my wife and I get along better. I said to him, I said, is your goal to lose 20 pounds or is your goal to improve your relationship with your wife? Because there may be so many other ways of getting that without losing your weight. So helping them get to what is that real true goal. And it takes time because he didn't even realize that. He thought if he loses weight again, his wife is going to love, and there may be other ways. So one big aspect of coaching is, or benefit of coaching, is having somebody who's trained and can help you strip away the noise and get down to your goal. Because if you have a goal that's not clear to you, it's not going to pull you along. It's going to be fuzzy. So you want to be crystal clear, smart goal formula. You want to be crystal clear and specific on what that goal is because you must believe in it 100%. So those are some different benefits of having a coach. Somebody can really give you an environment where you can be open, be yourself, and really focus on what is the one goal, right? I really want to achieve in the next X amount of months or years.
Yeah, and creating that no judgment zone. It's like Planet Fitness where they want people to come in, begin exercising. This is no judgment here, guys.
And no grunting, right?
Yeah, no grunting, no dropping the weights, or the lunk alarm's going to come on. And we just have to know that when we have those safe spaces, we can use them to our benefit. Yet, even though we have those safe spaces, not many people are going to utilize them. Think of it as a library. You can go to the library, you can read a bunch of books, gain a bunch of knowledge. How many people use libraries today? A lot of people just go on their phones and they just kind of get what they need. When it comes to coaching and therapy, there is a huge difference between the two. One is going to be results orientated, you getting to your goals, and one is going to be understanding where you are emotionally and then looking at your feelings of, are you happy here? Do you want to stay here? And then maybe looking at some alternatives, how to get there. Not saying that a coach can't help you there, but like if you're really down in like depression, I would say therapy is going to be your first stop. But many of the clients that I get who have gone to therapy, they also come to coaching too. So it's kind of like they get the best of both worlds, where they get to talk about their emotions and then they want someone that's going to hold them accountable. And that's the key, finding someone who's going to hold you accountable, that you can resonate with, that you feel open and safe to share your goals. Because when it comes to our goals and when it comes to our purpose, sharing that, it could be a little scary because you're telling someone something that you might half-heartedly believe. Like you might say, oh, I want to start a company, but you have this doubt within you, this limiting belief. Oh, wait, I don't know how to start a company. I don't know how to do this. So then it's kind of like you're a little bit nervous to tell a coach that you want to start a company because what would happen if you don't do it? And the last thing I think we want to be is hypocrites saying, oh, like I'm going to start a company and then you don't start a company. You're just kind of on your phone all day. Skin in the game. That's the aspect there. Putting some skin in the game, investing in yourself, investing in a coach. And people will invest all day to get a college degree they never use, but they won't invest in a coach that's going to help them excel into the areas that they don't even know that they want to excel in. And that's just our goal. We have to uncover that goal, uncover our purpose. And why do you think it's so predominantly common that people don't know their purpose?
I'm going to write that question next. I want to come back to it. But I want to say, I like the way you describe the difference between coaching and therapy, because that's one of the questions I get asked the most. And the way I describe it, I say therapy really, a therapist will work with you to deal with something in your past. Maybe it's trauma, but typically something in your past, or as you mentioned, something happening right now, but it's really blocking you. It's really having a negative impact on your daily life. Whereas coaching, we look forward. We say, we acknowledge what happened before, but based on what you're trying to accomplish to improve your life, what are you trying to accomplish going forward? So that's one of the ways I describe. But I like what you said. It's not just what's going on in the past, also what's going on right now. So I'm gonna add that to my the way I describe that. And then your question was,
Why do you think it's so common for people to not know their purpose or their why? It's just so common today.
I think Kanye West has a song on his Donda album called Remote Control. I think so many people are just in that remote control mindset, meaning they're being fed with so many different distractions. They don't really take the time to think about what their purpose is, what their goal is. There are some people who get to that realization when they find that their current life just is missing something. You talk about people who work in corporate and then go the opposite way. There's some people who work more in the sciences and then want to go more into the arts. So it's really more about sometimes you go through something in life that you say to yourself, okay, is this really it for me? But a lot of people don't go through that because Netflix, to be honest, with Netflix, they're not giving themselves that time to be. What I mean is, if you're frustrated in your job, you have a good job, it pays well, but you don't really feel anything from it. Instead of sitting down and saying, let me make a list of what I really feel inside my soul I want to do that will bring me feeling, make me really feel good. Instead, Netflix got them. And they never take the time. And I'm not blaming everything on social media or Netflix. I don't think some people want to identify what their purpose is because they may not think they can go after it. Now, I've been in China for the past almost 15 years. And when I have clients who are Chinese, sometimes I say to them, what are your goals? What are your dreams? No dreams, no dreams, no time for dream. You gotta be serious. I said, no, 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 no. If you could do something, what would it be? Colin, no, because we can't do that. I have kids, I have a family. I must do what's best for the family. So some people don't even think having their purpose, if you have a purpose and you're going for it, then that means you might not be focusing on your family enough. Several different reasons, and all this culture based as well, why people don't really take time to understand what their purpose is. And then more importantly, decide I'm going to go after my purpose. Outside of my coaching, I do a lot of motivational speaking as well. And I talk big on finding a purpose, or if not finding a purpose, finding something that makes you enjoy doing that's helping other people. Finding something to do because perhaps you doing that one thing, volunteering, opens a door or idea for something else. Making sure you're doing something that's not just serving you. And the more people you serve in whatever way, the more you're likely to find a purpose.
I definitely agree with that because people might give themselves a purpose of their family, but they don't know why they did it. They might give themselves a passion of playing an instrument, but they don't know why they did it. When we get down to the nitty gritty, when you start working with a client, it's not only telling them, well, I think this is going to be in line of what you want to be doing with the rest of your life. It's like, this is the reason why, too. It wasn't until I had a mentor, and I mean, I was in the teaching world since 2009 and, teaching and coaching. It wasn't until 2018 where I knew I loved teaching. I love educating. I had a mentor sit down with me and say, you need to be teaching. You need to be educating the world because whenever you talk about it, you light up. And even though I had that inclination, even though I was on that path, it wasn't until someone else told me that was ahead of me. This guy was at retirement age. He just retired from corporate, America job too. But now he was mentoring people and coaching people. That guy right there, what he did for me was he helped me say, wow, like someone sees something in me that I was either hiding from or running from, or I just couldn't see. And that was when I started my business. I was like, all right, cool. I guess I'm jumping ship too. I'm going to not burn all my bridges in the beginning. I'm just going to say, because I'm like having plan A, B, and C. So that's just who I am as a person. But it doesn't mean I'm going to squander, oh, plan A didn't work. I'm going to go to plan B. Plan A is plan A still. I was like, all right, let me build this. And that's basically what I did for the past 5 years also.
Let me ask you this, because you've experienced this. It's very powerful when somebody says, you know what? I see something in you.
Mhm.
And when they describe it, it's the same thing that you see in yourself, but you haven't told anybody. You're like, wow, this is confirmation, right? That I'm on the right track or what I'm feeling inside. is my path. So it's very, very powerful when that happens.
Right, exactly. And when that happened for me, it was kind of like a ding moment. And I was like, it was right in front of me. And sometimes that could be right in front of many people too. And we just have to know that if it's right in front of us and we can't see it, how do we see it? And that's where the wonders and the magic of getting a coach like yourself and just investing in yourself and saying, you know what, life can be more than what it is right now.
It's very rare that I'll have a client come in and say, okay, Colin, we want to help me identify what my purpose is. Why am I here? But they will say, I want to make a change. They will say, I want to make an improvement in my life. And then we'll go through the exercise to identify what part of your life, what improvements do you think you should make? Why do you want to make these improvements? And really helping them identify, okay, out of all the things you want to accomplish, what's your next actual step? What activity are you doing next? And one of the most powerful benefits of a coach is typically in my sessions, my clients will leave having committed to taking some action before we meet again, or maybe take longer, but some action. And that means that you're always going forward. You're always doing something. If a client says, well, I don't know what to do next. Okay, despite you not knowing what to do next, what do you think you should do? Right. I will go through that exercise a few times until they identify, well, I could try this. Okay, are you going to, or are you going to think about it? So we'll go through that. We'll get the commitments, what date, yada, 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 yada. But it's very powerful with coaching when you know that the client is going to be taking steps, always going forward. I did a lot of marathons. And when I train, I'm exhausted. Years ago, in my mind is, gosh, I'm tired. I'm tired. And it's miserable. Now, when I'm at the same level of exhaustion, in my mind is, hey, one step forward, it's closer, closer, closer. It's going to end at some point. I know that for a fact if I don't stop. Well, if I stop, it's going to end faster, but if I keep going, it's going to end at some point. So it's knowing that going forward, going forward, going forward, even if it's tough, you're getting closer to your goal. Now I'm on the motivational side, less coaching side, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. And it's important that we do take that action. And a simple action that people can take today is learning more about the work that you do, hopping on a discovery call with you, Colin, and just getting into the right mindset to want to take action, to realize the purpose, and then to say, you know what, life has more meaning than what I'm giving it. It's more than Netflix, it's more than just my corporate job. It has to be more than this. And typically, it is more than what you are giving yourself right now. And as we begin to wrap up, I want to get a final word from you, and then I want you to tell the audience where they can find you.
Yes, so you can find me if you're in Shanghai. But that's a joke. Because now, due to what happened during COVID, a lot of coaching activities now take place online. So if you're not in Shanghai, that does not matter. I would say 95% of my coaching now is online. And there are some very positive points to that. So they can find me on my website, www.oligye.com, oligye.com. Also, colincthompson.com, more on the motivational speaking side as well. So I'm very, very easy to find. And for your audience, if they go over to my website, they should be able to see a tab for 5 tips to building up your mental fitness. This is a PDF that will give them 5 easy tips to build up the mental fitness over time. And mental fitness is our ability to go through this upside down, curvy, hopefully wonderful and long thing called life, maintaining a positive rather than a negative mindset. And I give these tips that are easy to implement because when you're trying to improve yourself, if I go to the gym, day one, you're not bench pressing 200 pounds, start light. So look at these 5 easy tips and start on that journey to improving your mental health through these 5 tips.
I will definitely put all of those links in the description box below so people can easily find you. Go check out your website, your motivational website, check out that PDF. And you're right, we do have to begin in those small micro steps because the subconscious mind likes simple, likes easy. It doesn't want anything too scary. And the work that you do is not scary in the least. So we just want people to begin to become courageous and to demand more of themselves, not in a way that's going to shy them away from not wanting to go to the gym or not wanting to go to a coaching session, but in a way where they're excited each and every day to learn more about themselves and to what they can accomplish. I want to thank you so much, Colin, for coming on, spending a little bit of time with us today, and talking about the work that you do.
Yeah, Michael, thank you for having me on. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience, and hopefully one or two of them will gain something from our message today.